the 13th. It has the ring of doom about it. It's the strike. It's the strike of the health service people, the education people, the people who are saying, no, you shall not cut budgets. No, you shall not cut jobs. I'm joined in studio by Catherine Farrell, who's the union representative in our part of the world. Is that a reasonably accurate summation I give there?
It is indeed. Unison balloted for its members to come out on strike.
Yeah.
And recently 83% of healthcare workers and 75% of education workers all voted to come out on strike.
How serious is the position you're facing? Now, we have known, governments has been talking this long time now about cut and more cuts.
Exactly. And in point of fact, Rowan, I'm 40 years in the service.
Yeah.
And that's all I've ever heard about efficiency,
Cuts.
costs, cutting, the lot.
Are we now at a stage where the wagon is down to its last wheel?
Well, I just think that we can't do it anymore. The staff are at their absolute wits' end. The pressures on them is just considerable. I suppose to a great extent I can't even blame, it on management. It is about high up. It's about what the government decrees and the budgets that we have to do the job that we do.
We can. I know defence is in the frame now today as well. But we have plenty of money to spend on killing people.
Exactly.
Why can't we spend a few bob more on saving
curing
people?
I agree wholeheartedly. But for some reason we just can't get them to look at it that way. I have never known a time when nurses are taking a hit on their pension to go at 55. The number of people that I talk to on a daily basis, and I'm not exaggerating. You know what I mean? I know girls this minute that are thinking about going early because at 55 years of age, because
I can't say a word. I went at 48, so I can't say a word.
The irony of it is, when you think about it, we're going the opposite way. They're talking about we're not getting our pensions till we're 67, 68, 70, and they're talking about nurses nursing right up to that.
Yeah.
They'll kill them.
Yeah.
There won't be a need for pensions in a while because the staff, when they eventually do stop working, they'll die quite shortly afterwards.
Oh, sure, that's part of the economic strategy,
that's
perhaps.
Probably what it is. Probably indeed.
Now, you go on strike.
We do.
You do not go on strike easily or with no great reason. What was the breaking point? What was the moment of last conversation with the management side of the thing that made the union say, this isn't working, we need to go somewhere else?
I suppose really, as I told you, it's not really that we can actually talk to our managers because everything's decreed for them. They get a budget. Every year on year, we're asked to save 14 and 15 million. Last year, the savings that we had to make would at one stage a few years ago have run the likes of Daisy Hill on its own. It's unbelievable. So our managers can't change it for us.
Yeah.
They just can't.
So who can?
We have to change the attitude of the government, and we also have to know whether or not all of our taxes that we pay, all of us, you know what I mean, in society, no matter who you are, pay our taxes for the health service. The health service is very precious
to people,
of course. As is education. In Northern Ireland, we are very good at what we do.
Yeah.
We really are. And, things like, for instance, even transport are out with us at the moment.
Yeah.
So and the reason for those guys is that they're cutting services. Now, when you think about, say, for instance, Craigavon Hospital.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest of places to get to if you live in Annalong and haven't got a vehicle to get there. So you have to try to get there by bus or train or whatever.
That would be difficult enough.
Instead of the services and the infrastructure being looked at with a view to putting things in, they're actually pulling it out. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
People get appointments now. Elderly people will get an appointment, and it could be one of 3 hospitals that they have to go to: South Tyrone, Craigavon or Daisy Hill. It just depends. Oh yes, most definitely.
So an elderly person living in Kilkeel,
yes,
she's going to have a hospital appointment.
Yes.
She doesn't know, first of all, which hospital. She'll get a letter from the trust.
Yes.
And say you will go to South Tyrone.
Yes.
What?
And the reason for that is to meet waiting times regulations. If they're going to breach, they will say, those people are going to have to go to South Tyrone Hospital.
Yeah.
Even more difficult to get to it.
What are the politicians? Management can do nothing about it. Government can. Government is made up of politicians. What are our politicians doing about it?
Well, we're trying very hard, and I have to say, locally we can get support. All our MLAs and councillors will be with us tomorrow. They'll
But
be on
if
the
it's
line
not
with
changing,
us.
they're impotent.
Well, that's the problem. We really do need to get it, the view across the water changed. We really do, and we need to stand together. This government has a real knack, Rowan, of being able to divide and conquer. That's the old term.
Yes,
and what they do is they divide society. They divide the workers, the people on benefits, the people. Every one of us, they get told that if it's healthcare workers, it's about the wonderful pensions that we're getting when we go out. I have people go out and they have never been in a pension, you know what I mean, and they're low-paid workers and they just never joined up, and so they really have nothing. I have people, the average pension going out of our service is about £7,000.
Yeah.
That's the average.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're not going off to make a mint of
course you're not.
thing in our retirement.
You're not going off to live in a
and
chateau in Spain
and it's
or
nothing
wherever.
that I haven't paid into.
Yeah, you've done
or
it all your
our
life.
workers have done it
Yeah.
all our lives. We're only getting back what we've put in. But you have to understand this government takes that and makes it sound like it's wonderful. And we're a breed apart from everybody else because of our jobs and where we work. And we should be glad just to have a job. It's dreadful. Then they'll talk about the people being scroungers on benefits. They divide
How
us.
dare
We need
them.
exactly.
How dare
we
they.
need to unite everybody on this one. If we want a health service to continue and education to be the way it is, we need to fight for it. And this is our only means of doing
Maybe
it.
we need a new strategy. This, you've said it yourself there. This is our only means of doing it at the moment. Our
Yes.
only means of doing it. It's not working up to now.
No.
So if
That's
it's not
correct.
working up to now, we need a new strategy.
We definitely
And maybe the
do.
people who should be striking are the MLAs and the politicians of the land to say, we're going to stay at home in our constituency offices. We're going to work for our constituents. We will make, good God, they said last year they were going to make Northern Ireland ungovernable as a consequence of the marching rows.
Exactly.
Should they not make it ungovernable as a consequence of the lack of money and lack of funding and lack of jobs? Is it not time for that kind of new strategy?
It definitely is. We need them to be able to do. It feels like no one really can do anything at the present time, or no one that's, you know what I mean, in that's placed in areas like our MLAs and that can make the difference for us to make them rethink what they are doing with the National Health Service. I said to someone recently, the NHS is a sign that you very rarely see now. You tell me any building you know, even in Urianmore, that has NHS.
I've never seen
it. It's HSC now.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset. And if people get into that mindset, what you do is you whittle away at the health service, and people don't even realise that services are being cut to the extent that it's only when they need it that they say, well, what happened? That used to be a part of what Daisy Hill did or Craig Avon did, whatever. Do you understand?
I do.
It's just this chipping away.
It must be very dispiriting for you as a union person.
Frustrating, extremely frustrating. When you're I talked to a wee lady who said to me, I want to go out on this strike. She says, I go into a home, she says, to a 92-year-old lady. And she said, at night when I put her into bed, to get her back to bed, she says, I go in, she says, I have to toilet the lady.
Yeah. 35 minutes to do it.
Well, she says, we have to get her to the toilet, toilet her, then get her back to bed, settle her into bed, and make a cup of tea and a biscuit.
Yeah.
And she says, all that has to be done in 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
I know this because I have my eldest daughter does this.
Yes.
And she's the kind of professional who talks.
Yes.
Who says, hello,
And
darling, how are you?
Yes.
And there's conversation occurring.
And that's what it should be about.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And we're not getting that
But
at the
10
moment.
minutes is not enough. There's
no.
no quality of life there. There's no respect for the individual. And that is purely down to budgets and cuts.
You see, this kind of thing, the guillotine and the tumbrils of Paris were introduced in France at the time of the Revolution for less. You know, but
Yes, you use the word revolution, and I know at home Marwans would laugh at me, but I do say it's time for a revolution.
Well, you know, people have said that.
It's time for people to stand
You look
up.
at what's happening, and look at the Republic of Ireland and the
Yes,
austerity program.
yes.
Look at the kind of banks that took over the country and
Exactly.
made off with the money, and the people are still paying for it, and the people's children's children will be
That's
paying
right.
for
and
it.
once again, you're right. It's about austerity, and instead of the people that caused the austerity paying for it, instead we have the 92-year-old ladies that receive a 10-minute call. It's just unbelievable.
Now, under no circumstance can it be seen that I'm opposed to the strike. I'm for it.
I'm delighted to hear that.
But
I really am.
can I tease one thing out with you, please?
Surely,
I
yes.
need to find this out. Irish News is leading this morning with a story. And it's saying 60% of accident and emergency crews in the ambulance service will not answer 999 calls. 80% of the rapid response paramedics will go on strike. People who, can I suggest that people whose job it is to respond and save life must not go on strike?
I agree. And in actual fact, although they will say that, they're probably correct in the figures of the numbers of people that are out on strike, but I can categorically assure anyone that if there is an emergency tomorrow, it will definitely be covered. It will definitely.
You heard it here.
Emergencies and urgent cases, even with regards to ourselves, all urgent red flag procedures will go ahead tomorrow. Cancer services will go ahead tomorrow. Anything that is top, most important will not, and we are avidly going to our staff and saying they need the cover for those clinics, you need to be there. And the staff are accommodating all of this.
So our ambulance crews will
most
respond to emergencies.
Most definitely there will be emergency cover tomorrow with regard.
You see,
what I would say to you is that a bit like ourselves, you know what I mean, and the dom care workers that I'm after mentioning, who now find that the bulk of their work is going to the private sector. In the case of the ambulance people, after 12 o'clock at night, there are 3 private companies that are regularly used to do the work.
That's probably costing more.
It may well be costing, and probably is, but that's the view that they take. They use these companies.
I know the ambulance people.
Yes.
I have seen them work. I have seen them arrive at a scene of an accident. I have seen them save lives.
Yes.
I have seen the deep humanity and the deep caring of the ambulance crews. And it defies understanding that they would say no to a 999 call. And someone is doing you down badly because the word of the last week has been there will be no ambulance cover.
No, that is not true from the point of view that they have their contingencies
in place.
places are contingency plans are in place for tomorrow, like they are across the board. And you make the point about people caring. They care so much that it's them, the well-trained, well-governed individuals that are actually providing the care to the individuals. The same as nurses do. Nurses are now, we talk about it all the time, frontline services and nurses being able to nurse. And then on the other hand, they're talking about admin people, that there's too many of them. What I see day and daily is that, as soon as someone says we need another cut in the service, that's exactly where they go. They go to admin people or, support services to take people out of it, to try and cut the budget down.
Yeah.
But when they do that, that actually means that the nurses then have to do the admin work, because there's just there's nowhere else for it to go. So instead of allowing nurses to nurse, that's why they went into that profession, Rowan. They didn't go in to do the statistical work or whatever that needs done from an admin perspective. They went in to nurse patients. My thing is they should be allowed to nurse.
Now, let's tie, your responsibility is the Newry area.
Newry and Mourne, yes.
Newry and Mourne.
We're the Newry and Mourne branch.
What's happening on Friday and how can we support it?
Please, I am looking for the public to come out and give us a bit of support. We start tomorrow morning at 6:30 at Daisy Hill. The picket line will be set up and it will go on till late tomorrow evening. During the day, the one big time that there is we have a rally at 1 o'clock, and we're asking members of the public, the school children, everybody to come along and support us in this. This is about their services.
1 o'clock where?
1 o'clock at Daisy Hill Hospital.
That's 1 o'clock, Daisy Hill Hospital on Friday. And
Yes.
since I am going to put this interview out again tomorrow,
Great, that's
it's
brilliant.
1 o'clock today, if you like, so we'll put it
That's
that way.
brilliant. Thank you very
Catherine
much.
Farrell, I'm delighted you've joined me.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for clearing up the misunderstanding and the uncertainty about the ambulance service. The good people, the humanitarian professionals of the ambulance corps will not see someone die at a roadside.
I honestly can say that they will not.
Catherine, go well and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very
The
much.
revolution starts here.
Great, thank you.